by film.
5,
Stand by music.
4,
Stand by announce.
3, 2, 1.
And fade up.
Fish are friends, not food.
Make it Centauri time.
Too much iron in your blood.
Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color?
Hey, what happened? Let's fly!
Let's get pissed and watch boom.
Hello, you've got a base.
Are you saying there's something wrong with my gear?
We're going streaking!
He found me!
He's doing his Superman thing.
I still only counts as one!
Why is the rum always gone?
Welcome, everyone, to another brand new episode of 20 Years, 4 Beers. We are a podcast dedicated to rewatching movies from 2 decades ago, while simultaneously enjoying a minimum of 4 modern beers. My name is Steve, and this is my big brother,
Tim.
And we are coming to you from Minneapolis, Minnesota. We have just watched and recorded our episode on X2, X-Men United, which again, I don't know how they united since some of them separated, but we didn't talk about it in the last episode.
It's a pendulum.
I can't go down that path. But go check that one out. And as usual, we sit together afterwards and discuss another film over another beer. So we refer to these as our happy hour episodes.
Hey, you guys. Happy hour is from 4 to 6.
In this happy hour, we will be discussing a little known and little remembered thriller in Phone Booth. Phone Booth is the story of Stu, an arrogant, low-level publicist in New York City who walks around the neighborhoods as if he is the king of the streets and his shit don't stink. So basically, a typical New Yorker.
Hey, I'm walking.
Ayo! Stu acts as if the way he treats his assistant, people on the phone, his wife, and his wannabe mistress will have no repercussions, but he soon finds out that he was very wrong about that. After using a payphone to call his crush to avoid getting caught by his wife, Stu answers a random call coming in to the payphone. He hears the voice of a man who has him in the sights of a rifle and will be murdered if he hangs up or does not give in to whatever his new captor asks for. Stu must somehow find a way to survive, but the cost of his survival may just be more than he can handle.
Good summary.
Thank you.
Nice.
The film is directed by Joel Schumacher, misspelled on my part, written by Larry Cohen, and
I'm
stars...
assuming the Joel part.
Yeah, I got that part right. It's not Joel with an umlaut up top. Written by Larry Cohen and stars Colin Farrell, Forrest Whitaker, Rhoda Mitchell, Katie Holmes, and the creepy dulcet tones of Kiefer Sutherland. Excuse me.
Jack Bauer.
Jackie B, as we call him in this house.
If you hang up, I will kill you.
What are you gonna do about it up in your fucking high window with your goddamn binoculars?
I never said I had binoculars. I have a highly magnified telescopic image of you. Now, what kind of device has a telescopic sight mounted on it?
What, you mean like a rifle?
A .30 caliber bolt action 700
Right.
with a carbon-1 modification and a state-of-the-art Hensoldt tactical scope. And it's staring straight at you.
Yeah, how's my fucking hair?
At this range, the exit wound ought to be about the size of a small tangerine.
Nice try, pal. Go to hell.
Now, doesn't that just torque your jaws? I love that. You know, like in the movies, just as the good guy is about to kill the bad guy, he cocks his gun. Now, why didn't he have it cocked? Because that sound is scary. It's cool, isn't it?
Look, you shoot a gun here and there'll be pandemonium. All right, do you hear me? There'll be cops swarming all over this block.
You think so? Let's see. 1, 2. That won't help you. 3. Oh, Stu, look at everybody. Look at all of the people screaming, Stu. Here come the cops. Sniper on the roof, gunfire hit the deck. Stu, you still with me? Stand up and be a man.
I love happy hour episodes.
Yeah, man. Just give me more booze.
Yep.
Our first segment, as usual, is Drinking Buddies,
Come on, not my fucking beer.
where we present the 4 beers that we had, 2 for each of us, since we watched these separately, and give our expert drinking ratings. Tim, why don't you give us the start?
I had Steel Toe out of St. Louis Park, Minnesota. Their IPA, the grand name of IPA.
Good. Don't come up with some quirky names.
Right?
Call it an IPA.
Exactly.
Be what you are.
Yeah, it's a standard hazy that they offer, and it's a 4 for me. It's a really nice, solid option. And then, in honor of our transition from winter to spring, I had to end up with the New Glarus, or Glarus,
Yeah, whatever.
Wisconsin, their Road Slush Oatmeal Stout. And that to me is a 4.25. It's just a solid, like
Wait, which one? The Road
Slush Oatmeal Stout. It's only a seasonal.
Slush. Yeah, I don't know if I've even had that.
Oh, I got an extra bottle. You can
You
have it.
won't when I leave. Yeah.
I had the last one this week
once
watching the
had
movie.
one, and now it's not there anymore.
Please
That's
take
weird.
it. Yeah,
That's
it's
weird.
so good. It's
I'll trade
so
you.
good.
Yeah.
It's a nice send off to winter. It's 4.25 for me. What about you?
Oh man, I really am mad at myself for not bringing the other beer. But anyway, so my buddies are from Millstream Brewing Company in Amana, Iowa. I didn't know Amana actually existed, by the way, until I looked up on the map. But they have their Shenanigans Irish Red Ale, 7% ABV. I initially had a 3.75 out of 5, but I ended up bumping up to a 4 out of 5 based on the overall quality of the style and drinkability, which I will admit is fast becoming a larger and larger factor in my ratings.
Okay.
Teaser to what's about to come.
Wah.
But like, at this point, we've had enough beer in our lives to say, I can tell if this is well made or not or whatever,
Yep,
but drinkability,
Yes.
crushability, whatever it is, has to be factored in. And like we talked about it in the reverse of saying dumping it, right? So if I can crush this and I can finish it. So we talked about in the last episode of saying the legalize big doinks.
Yep.
I still finished that half or like, so you got to give
8
credit
ounces,
to saying
yep.
I finished it still. So anyway, that being said, I ended up moving it to a 4. I bought a 4-pack and had no issue having all 4 over the course of X amount of days. Like you said, with the big doinks, you're like, I got 3 more to go here, man.
What am I gonna do
That
with
seems like a chore.
Yeah.
And so I ended up bumping up. So it's a very good Irish red ale. Then I went to Mortalis Brewing Company out of Avon, New York. Their red, white, and blue sour ale with raspberry, blueberry, and vanilla.
Huh.
It was 6% ABV and thick as
Really?
fuck. Which, as we know, is our favorite thing here.
Oh, I love this.
Give me more and more
Yep.
shit in my beer.
Yep.
So I actually had to type this out just so I could remember at the time. So
Okay.
the can may have had sediment over time because, again, like there's just it sits there or whatever, and it's just sitting there.
Yep.
So I did initially give it the benefit of the doubt because when I poured it into the glass, I swear to God, the last quarter was just gunk. It was like blump, 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 blump. You could feel the weight. You could feel the weight in the can.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was
Like chunks
pouring
down.
water, and then it was like, oh, by the way, there's flour at the bottom of this. I forgot to tell you. So it just oozed out instead of poured. Strike 1, right? Like strike against it.
Okay.
I would say that the flavor overall was fine and pretty standard for when you think about blueberry, raspberry, and vanilla. Like we've had those before. It's nothing like it's like, oh, this is the first ever. But what started out as a 3.5 quickly dropped to a 3 as I realized I could only finish maybe a quarter of it.
Jeez.
It was so thick. I had to dump it. I just had to. I sat there drinking. I had the shenanigans, and I was sitting there drinking this, and I was like, I cannot physically handle this.
It's terrible. Nobody drink the beer. The beer has gone bad.
Wow.
And I had to dump it. So it kept dropping. So just like, so for Shenanigans, it started 3.75, but then I was like, this is crushable. I can have more of this and I can drink. It bumped up to a 4. Then I can't have the other side of that and be like, this is worse.
You're good. Yep.
We are also having another beer right now. So what do we got, Tim?
You're like, I'm so upset. Insight Brewing out of Minneapolis.
Mhm.
We have their Drift West Coast IPA. And with Strata, Citra, and Amarillo. For me, it's a like 3.75.
Mhm.
It's a good smell. I don't know that I'd say it's much of a West Coast. It's
not
a hazy.
No, it's dank.
It's just like,
Taste it again. This tastes a lot like Legalized from like just, it's got a dankness
the smells there.
to it, man.
Yeah.
I don't love Insight Brewing.
Yeah.
Trollway's fine or whatever, but
yeah,
was it Insight that did the random West Coast, East Coast 4-pack that had 2?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Never did they do that again.
I know.
And I think it was universally understood that I think it was the West Coast version of that was like great.
It was really, really good.
This might be, aside from that West Coast, the best Insight beer I've ever had.
I agree. Well, we had
Which is
like
a
Control
low
Alt
bar to beat.
last one, like a Control Alt beer.
Yeah, maybe I was at a 4. I give this a 4 out of 5.
Nice.
I'm saying it's a low bar to beat from Insight Brewing.
Yeah.
With the exception of that one split 4-pack.
They did have like a gin and tonic option.
Yeah, you loved it.
I did because I like gin and tea.
Correct.
If you don't, it's not good.
No, it was terrible. It was terrible. Like, yeah, it was awful.
Yeah.
But
this is good though.
Respect to I understood that it was good and
It's
they
the
did
style,
that whole series. I'm sure in the moment I'm forgetting something, but
it was good.
I think this is...
It's tasty.
Yes.
Yes.
I am also, give them credit, these are in 12 ounces.
Yes. That's all I need.
Yes. So if this were in a couple of tall boys, both of us would say it's a detriment. Got to give them credit. If it's a detriment in 16 ouncer, then you have to give them credit for releasing it in a 12.
Yep.
It's got a good flavor to it. It's got a really dank, it's got a good dank flavor, quote unquote, without being like douchey dank.
What the
like,
heck?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Douchey dank. One of the best phrases
T-shirt
of all
idea
time. Yes.
Coming soon.
Douchey
to
dank.
to our website. I never update. All right. So our next segment then is the social network.
If you guys were the inventors of Facebook, you'd have invented Facebook.
Just a natural segment shift. Where we take a look back at the critical and fan reception from 20 years ago. As usual, Tim is nice enough to research these, so please take it away, good sir.
The IMDb rating is 7.1 out of 10. Andrew Saris of The Observer.
Okay. All right.
He observed.
Man, you got time on your hands.
I know. Oh, I do. Yes. Phone book.
If anyone from St. Cloud State is listening,
yeah,
I work hard at my job. All right.
It's all after hours. Phone booth raises more questions than it answers as it attempts yet fails to convince us that a moralistic sniper would torture a random sleazy publicist into tears of guilt and remorse over what ultimately amounts to a few paltry venial sins. Peter Howell.
Tell it to your wife, good sir.
It's not that big a deal, baby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I swear, she's nothing to me, honey.
Yeah.
Why are you making a big deal out of it?
Peter Howell of the Toronto Star said, anyone inclined to argue with the logic of the story, and there's certainly much to argue about, is advised to just sit back and watch how Colin Farrell superbly unravels before our eyes.
Totally.
And then Roger Ebert, 3 out of 4. Same as the... All right. He's just like, I'm going for a 3 out of 4. he's just phoning it in.
God.
No pun intended for this. He said the movie is essentially a morality play. For just over 1 hour, Farrell's fast-talking, two-timing publicist is taunted by an omniscient voice while struggling to talk or think his way out of his perilous situation, all within the confines of New York City's last phone booth. As the crisis builds in tension, Forrest Whitaker's broken cop grapples with trying to communicate non-verbally or in code with Farrell's character. And the movie excels at showing him and Farrell figuring out ways to outlast and outwit an invisibly useful Kiefer Sutherland.
Survivor style, outwit, outlast.
That's right. And Academy Awards, no.
Yeah, we are 0 for 2 on recording tonight.
I know.
Not a surprise.
Yep, those are the Social Network.
With the beers and reviews out of the way, that brings us to Spotlight.
They knew, and they let it happen.
Our reaction segment where we highlight and discuss our top takeaways of any kind from re-watching the film. You went first last time, so I'm actually going to start on this one.
I'll drink more.
Please do. So, follow me here. I'm a baseball fan. I'm a huge baseball fan. Baseball is my number one sport. Similar to the new look MLB, with shorter games and more action, can we just appreciate a film that clocks in at 85 minutes, is immediately engrossing, and does not really let up on its very simple premise until the end? Also appreciate the simple premise film. I sat there the entire time, going, there's no hidden depths to this movie. There's it doesn't try to be more than what it is, right? I mean, so for me, I sat there, aside from, you want to talk about story, you want to talk about whatever, okay, cool. But I would say kind of combination of things, it's a simple idea film. And so I love that. I love walking into this and saying, you talk about, even Ebert gave it 3 out of 4. So I mean, Ebert, who thinks that attention spans are short, gave it the exact same rating. I think he was 3 out of 4 in X2.
Exact same. Yep.
So what are we doing here, man? You want to shit on us about having short attention spans, and then the movie comes in at under an hour and a half, and you're gonna give it the same rating?
Yes.
To me, that's where I came in. That's as I watched it, and we'll get into more of the nitty gritty details. Just tell me a brief, good story, man. So that's where I'm at with it. I loved it. Well, we'll get back to what I felt about it, but I appreciate the fact that a long-running, well-respected director, like it or not, an up-and-coming actor, all these people, they come together and they craft on a street in New York an 85-minute thriller, and do it, in my opinion, really well. I liken it to Panic Room.
Yeah.
With simple premise.
Yep.
Man on Ledge, if you remember that one.
I do remember it, yep.
There's a few others, and even more recently, Cocaine Bear, we talked about multiple times. Give me a simple premise, and then when I walk into Cocaine Bear or Man on Ledge, I'm expecting Man on Ledge, or a bear hyped up on cocaine.
Or a man in a phone booth.
Right. If I come in a phone booth, that motherfucker better be in a phone booth the entire time. Because otherwise, what are we doing here, man?
Yes.
And so I appreciate the simple premise and then the delivery. Because I think Man on Ledge is actually another one that is very forgotten in terms of how well crafted it is.
Yeah.
So
for me, this is a movie that when we were looking at the options of 2003, it was
I'm with you. I almost didn't say, I guess, I don't know, man.
We might.
Do you want to do this or Intolerable Cruelty?
I guess we'll maybe try this over the Coen Brothers stuff. I totally agree. First thing I remember was I turned it on this week, and I was like, it's an hour and 21 minutes.
Yes.
This is a movie?
Yeah.
No. To me, a feature-length film should not be this short.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I totally agree. It has no business, and we've said this a lot with movies that you think, I guess I'll see this, whatever happens.
Yeah.
It has no business being as good as it is. It's absurd.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely ridiculous, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I like movies like this where I just have
We just watched a movie about mutants.
Yes.
You have to be able to. Why is it that you can suspend belief in that?
Yes.
But this doesn't.
Yes.
Sorry.
But I think what works for this is that it just understands, and I love the comparison to baseball, because admittedly, as a man, not compelled to watch baseball, with the new pitch clock and all those things, like, yeah, we shouldn't spend 6 hours watching people stand around. Tighten it up.
If you could be 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
I've been to 2 games so far this year, and it's like, hello, this is
wonderful.
And I'm a baseball fan.
Yeah.
I'm a movie fan.
It's a great
But that
comparison to
doesn't
start
mean
with.
Just because I like sitting down for a 3-hour Babylon
Yeah.
doesn't mean I can't also like sitting for an hour and a half or under.
An hour and 20.
Thriller.
Yes.
Those two,
Yes.
like, it just depends on how you entertain me.
I totally agree. I was so happy to watch it, and it just flew by.
Yes.
And it was like, all right, I'm going to throw it in and watch it before I go to bed. Great. An hour and 10 minutes later, done.
Yep.
Like, no big deal. So I agree. It's a movie that comes out of nowhere. And the premise is...
And it came out of nowhere at the time. We
Yeah.
both saw this in the theater around that time. Yep.
We're like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like,
sorry, but the premise. But
yeah. I'm so happy to have watched it again because it holds up, especially from the time of, technology changing and the phone booth aspect. It works for what the narrative needs it to.
Yep.
And I liked it a lot.
Yep.
It's very good.
So, sort of tying off of that is to say that aside from Colin Farrell, the main character of this movie, or at least the most important part for me, is the editing decisions that were made.
Yes.
And I think using multiple shots at once to allow for the action to continue without losing focus. So, and by multiple shots, I mean like there's literally...
Like picture in picture.
Picture in picture.
Yes.
Sometimes up to 4.
Yes.
Like... That, to me, using those multiple shots at once to allow for the action to continue without losing focus and also allow us, as the audience, to feel more tension, wondering where we should look at any given time. Because should I look at it here? Should I look down here? What's going on? These are all simultaneous edits.
Yes.
They're really well done. All while not adding to the runtime. So that's the secret.
Yes.
There's 82 or 85 minutes or whatever, but you go, there's actually more.
True.
If in a regular film, it would have been like, I'm going to cut to this person. I'm going to cut to this person. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It would have added 5 to 10 minutes and it would have been like unnecessary cuts. That to me is a stroke of genius.
Yes.
And one that you actually rarely see. I was sitting there trying to think, like, what other movies do that have this sort of, like, that aren't video game movies, that happens in them, but a real sort of thriller of along this line. They do not jump. They might jump cut, but it's on the full screen.
Yep.
It is not picture in picture or picture in picture in picture, and then
yes,
and then it really doesn't happen until much. It happens a little bit, but then once it starts to sink in for Stu, when the caller Kiefer calls
his wife,
the mistress, right?
Oh, yeah,
because then and it's like you have Stu on one screen and the mistress on the other, and then it sort of like fades in,
right? Yeah,
it zooms in on one and the other, and it like comes in, and you're like, "What is happening?"
The Ken
right
Burns
now?
effect
It adds a suspension.
Yes,
I was like, that to me, aside from Colin Farrell, we'll talk about it a little bit. The most important decision of this movie was the editing decisions.
I totally agree. I had that as a comment where that type of editing is essential for this to keep the tension moving.
Yeah,
where you at all times are focused on Stu.
Yep.
The main character caught in this phone booth with this sniper there, where you don't cut away to see something else. He's always on screen.
For
the most part.
He's off to the side.
Yes.
He's on here. Yep. Yeah.
But I agree. And what they do is a great job of knowing that we've got a, widescreen impact. You can have these screens playing together and then cut, move forward, move back. I totally forgot they did this until watching. I'm like, this is
and
awesome.
at no point is the editing bad.
No. Yes.
It's not off. They do such a good job from an editing standpoint.
I had that. Yeah, it allows us to see what's going around him without cutting away. Like an editing thing would be like, let's have this build some tension or whatever. Like, no, the focus is just a myopic view of our main character and then things around him, but you cannot move away. I totally agree. That was a fantastic storytelling device.
Yeah, it really just drives and the tension because I'm sorry, I can't remember which of your reviews you were talking about, but a lot of people were just saying like there isn't tension or there isn't sort of, and maybe I'm paraphrasing, but it's just like you can't attach to these people or you can't. Like, and I'm like, I actually disagree. I think these, like the editing style of this and the like, I don't know. I guess I should have been paying attention. Is what I'm saying. So, so do you have any like? Do you have another one off of that or okay? Yep.
So for me, at the time, Colin Farrell is a huge actor. Now,
well-known actor. Absolutely.
Like, I mean, like Mark. I mean, he was up for Academy Awards this year. Like
just this year, first time ever. Oddly enough, but yes,
crazy. But he was. I mean, unrecognizable as the Penguin. In Batman last year. So think about like
to be on a TV show.
And like he is huge. But you think back 20 years ago, he had not really established, like, been built as that type of leading man actor. And I do remember watching it, thinking, this guy is going to be a star.
This movie,
yeah.
Okay,
like it doesn't work without him. Carrying it, like that main character clearly is written for having the degradation, unraveling of his bravado, cockiness, just torn asunder by this. It doesn't work.
Asunder.
That's right.
Well done.
You like that. It doesn't work if the main actor can't pull it off.
Correct.
And we've seen Colin Farrell in
Minority Report.
Yes. He's so good. But this was like still a starring vehicle. And he's so freaking good in this. Where he has the cocky accent and just the essence about this, that when he picks up the freaking phone and I mean, we saw trailers. We knew it's going to be like a tension suspense thing. His unraveling on screen and like the smarmy, I can figure my way out of this type of thing until he has his ultimate breakdown. And it's like just it's hard to describe if you haven't seen it how good he is at that visceral vulnerability that to me I'm like, Colin Farrell is incredible. This movie is garbage without him. Absolutely, in my view. Like it's absurd.
I neglected the things I should have valued most. I valued this shit. I take off my wedding ring to call Pam. Kelly, that's Pam.
Somebody got 20 on this Pam.
Don't blame her. I never told her if I was married, and if I did, she would have told me to go home. Kelly, looking at you now, I'm ashamed of myself. All right? I mean, I worked so hard on this image on Stu Shepard, the asshole who refers to himself in the third person, that I only proved I should be alone. I've been dressing up as something I'm not for so long. I'm so afraid you won't like what's underneath. But here I am. I just flesh and blood and weakness. I love you so fucking much.
It's well crafted, but without that performance, it doesn't get
to
you
really
the
bring the
grounded-
gravitas. It's so good with him.
Yeah. Jumping back to my last point, that you just reminded me of the critics who were saying like, it's almost unbelievable that his sins weren't.
Yeah, it's not
that
too
big
bad.
of a deal. It's not too bad to deserve this.
Yes.
Like, then you're missing the point of this.
Yes.
And that's where Farrell's performance comes in. And, and I'll talk about both of those a bit. For me, Farrell was a star from the beginning. He just oozes confidence in this role. And almost all of his other roles, like we talked about Minority Report. I think in Minority Report, we did talk about him.
Yeah.
Again, I don't listen to our podcast, so I didn't like jump back.
Yeah.
But like, it is interesting to me to see guys like him, or I mentioned him in the last one, Ryan Reynolds, who at around this time were crowned to be the next big thing.
Yep.
20 years ago or so.
Yep.
But who both struggled to really get there. It took a long time for both of them to get to, while everyone respected them, to really get to the sort of elite level. Farrell, just this last year, gets nominated, rightfully so, although I didn't like the movie, but he should have been nominated for Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah.
And then Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds. I mean, but everyone says that now, but 4 or 5 years ago even, it was like, he's this sort of maybe actor or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mentioned the parallel just to say, like, they both, it took a couple decades to really enjoy the heights of their fame. There's not a lot of parallels in terms of what they do on screen, but it's great to see guys like Farrell and watch and rewatching these movies remind us to say, I remember at that time, everyone thought Colin Farrell was the next big thing.
Yes.
And then same with Ryan Reynolds or whatever. But it was, and what did Farrell do in that time?
Yeah.
A lot of stuff, but not like
very character driven.
I like The Recruit. If you really want to watch a good, like, I like that movie actually.
SWAT.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. And SWAT was just like a money grab.
Yes.
But there's a whole lot of shit along the way. And then they start making independent films and kind of doing their own thing and really realizing that it's not about the money, the payday.
Yep.
And that's why I liken them to him. So yeah, to your point about Farrell, this movie is nothing without, whether it's Farrell or somebody like him in that role.
Yep.
But it was very clear back then, Colin Farrell was the next big thing.
Totally.
And you watch this and you're like, yep.
Exactly. It's one of those we talked about at different episodes where we see like Kate Hudson or Hugh Jackman or even Clooney or whatever, like this person will be a star.
Yep.
And this was the first version of that. And I appreciate what Farrell was did in Minority Report, but this was like, oh, you can carry a movie and elevate it above the source material, where the material is just absurd. Like it's just simple, no big deal.
From a simplicity
yes,
standpoint,
an hour and 10 minute like morality tale, great. But this has no business being as good as it is, and it's because I think predominantly of Colin Farrell.
Yep. But, I only have maybe one other point.
But what works and elevates even more, and maybe it's a hindsight thing because of our appreciation for like the show 24, but
the first 4 seasons,
yes, but Kiefer Sutherland as the voice, on the phone, it shifts. Like it's a lighthearted kind of like 10 minutes in.
Yeah, it's 10. Yep.
Like going about the motions of this, like building a world, and once Stu picks the phone and you hear Kiefer's voice.
Yeah.
It is unlike anything else.
The one that haunts my dreams at night?
It's so effing good in terms of you are instantly on edge.
Yeah.
When he speaks,
know it's bad. Yep.
It's like, oh God. Like, and that's what I think is really impressive about when you think about the tiny pieces that can elevate a material. You bring in someone that you're not going to see him. Well, we see him at the end,
but even then
it's unseen off camera.
Yes, it's
like he has to build tension,
Yep.
and he is foreboding, serious. And I don't want to compare it to the Joker, not at all. But his whole thing of like he's laughing, you can see him manipulating the circumstances where he is just you're not going to mess with this guy.
No,
and clearly a guy gets killed in front of him, like the pimp.
Yes. And we already know that 2 other people did before.
Yes. So we know like this is not someone to trifle with.
Mhm.
But it doesn't work until you have, I think, that weight of the voice.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find a voice actor as
Right.
effective as Kiefer. And he's so good.
Yes.
So good. So good.
So I agree. And speaking of voice, let's just be clear that Katie Holmes sounds like a freaking high schooler in this movie.
She's terrible.
And that's not her fault.
Yeah.
Why Katie Holmes is even in this movie from the beginning is
Yeah.
absurd.
Yes.
She was a big enough star at the time to not
Yes.
have to have a 3-line.
Yes. But she's terrible.
My last point is I felt that the redemption story arc as the reason for the gunman to do this was a really great twist to what we think is happening.
Yep.
And again, if you listen to us enough, I get it. Spoiler alert going forward. But it is assumed that he, the gunman, is just a madman or a washed up actor that hates Stu. But in reality, he is doing this as an extreme, over the top course correction.
Yeah.
Almost like a god stepping in at the most critical moment. Is it based in reality? No, obviously not. None of this is. But I like that at his core, so whoever said, are his sins so bad, blah, blah, blah. I actually like that.
Yes.
Like, I say, I like that at his core, Stu is a pretty good guy.
Yep.
That has just been washed up into the seedy parts of life.
Yep.
The New York City lifestyle, the like, my money is blah, 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 blah. And the killer sees that. By random, he sees
Yes.
that and decides to use Stu
Yes.
for his purpose.
Yes.
Now, not to get too poetic here, as the guy did murder 3 people that we know of.
Yep.
But still, an interesting twist to what we believe is happening. The low-hanging fruit would be, this is an actor or some sort of person,
Yep.
and he took it out on him or whatever.
Yep.
But it's just like this understanding of this is bigger than Stu.
Yep.
I really actually like that play on it. There's not a gunfight at the end. This is like Inside Man. Do you remember that movie?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Absolutely, yeah.
There's no big gunfight at the end, and it's just a minimalist feeling. Stu gets away, but he is warned, don't F up the opportunity that I literally just gave you.
Yes.
And so whoever said that in terms of like, oh, his sins weren't that bad.
Yeah.
Bro, that guy's wife needs to check the text messages from back then.
Yeah.
Because that reviewer is definitely cheating on his wife. Definitely. I don't know who it was.
Yeah.
Definitely cheating on his wife. Because
Yeah.
wait.
Andrew Sayers,
It's really not
Observer.
that bad
Yeah.
of what he did. Is this
Yeah.
really that bad? Yes, it is, good sir. And so check your privilege at the door. And I love the fact that the 2 people
That's so great.
previous to that were like drug dealers or like
Yes.
French whatever.
Far worse.
Yes, far worse than this.
Yes.
And now it's like I actually really like that twist of it.
Yes.
Because all of us assumed it's going to be Stu is a murderer or
Yep.
he's a sexual assaulter or whatever, and he gets what he deserved. In reality, all Stu did was make a couple of wrong steps along the way.
Yep.
And does that mean he should be dead because he's a bad person? No. That's what I like. That's my final. So I was like, again, I don't want to be like, oh, wax poetic or whatever. Big up. No, I like that.
What's great about the voice and the antagonist is that it's not, I need to know, and we just talked about it with X-Men 2, like a great
As
villain.
well.
X-Men 2. Well done. Also, I like a good villain. I like a sympathetic good villain. And in some circumstances, it works well for the story you're telling to have that narrative of how they came to be.
Yeah.
A pseudo origin story.
Yeah.
You don't have to have this for this. It's just like, you know what you're getting into. And this guy is just there to antagonize someone and say, I'm going to have you be judged. And if you are deemed worthy, then great. But I will still be watching in that sense. So I totally agree. Like, it's a great thing where it's just like a morality tale, but it's not like, I need to know why the killer has this background.
And like, the killer should come
Yes.
he should be like, accountability should be brought upon this. No.
Yes. No. I agree.
All right, so with our reactions out of the way, that leads us into our next segment that we call The Verdict.
I'm going up there, I'm going to try it, I'm going to let the jury decide.
This is pretty much exactly how it sounds. Each of us takes a minute to put a cap on our reviews, give a rating, and whether or not the film holds up to decades later. I'm first last time. Are you ready?
Yep.
Here you go.
So, tension-filled, tightly compact, and totally absurd. Phone Booth has no business being as enjoyable as it is. Colin Farrell was clearly going to be a star and a big name after this.
Yep.
And I highly recommend it if you have just about an hour and 10 minutes to kill. No pun intended.
Yeah.
You'll easily enjoy it, forget it, but it's ultimately a movie that is highly recommended, which is kind of nice with like some of the drama and like emotional intensity.
Yep.
It's 3 out of 5 for me, and not a bad 3 out of 5. It's just a solid sign up, enjoy it, and you're good.
I think when you think about the type of movie this is and somebody says 3 out of 5, you'd be like, all right.
Really?
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Saying like, if I say 3 out of 5, you might inherently say maybe it's not that great, but you go, wait, what movie were we talking about here?
Yep.
And on that note, just seeing this film again made me realize how much I love and want there to be a place in major films for a simple premise movie.
I love it. Yeah. Yep.
Phone Booth sets up in 5 to 10 minutes, continues down one singular path, and then ends with a thrilling climax that still holds up, despite the fact that the central part of the story centers around technology that anyone under the age of 20 to 25 may or may not even believe existed in this world.
Yep.
In a phone booth and or payphone. And also, wasn't it Verizon?
I think so.
Yeah, it was like Verizon was
really,
because let's not forget that. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Off topic. Farrell delivers on his up-and-coming status and reminds us why he is such a well-respected actor. Kiefer takes advantage of the voice that God and his father gave him. And everyone aside from Holmes is able to deliver a lot in very small roles.
Yep.
This is not an all-time classic, but is something that I would recommend to almost anyone looking for a thriller and who may not have all night to give to a movie.
Yep.
Like Heat or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have 3 hours, boy, put this one in.
Yep.
It's
good
great.
weeknight.
I have 3.5 out of 5 for that reason, so it holds up. Go see it. All right, so we come now then to our final segment, which is Quiz Show.
The exciting quiz program, 21.
Where we search for trivia surrounding our subject film and try to stump the other. I have 2, if my eyes are not deceiving me.
I have 3.
Well, go right ahead, good sir.
I must admit, we didn't talk about
mine are a little weak, but we'll see. Yeah,
we didn't talk about it much, but it definitely was a Pandora's box of Forrest Whitaker trivia.
Yep.
Because
again, by the way, I don't think I have this in here.
No.
That entire subplot of the white whatever trying to take over for Whitaker, it's like, okay.
I know.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Again, no business being as good as it.
Pandora's box
his
of Whitaker.
Broken cop.
Panic Room.
Yes. I know, right?
Oh, I thought that was your trivia question.
No, we already covered that. I'd be shocked if you know this, but Kiefer Sutherland, the voice in this, and Forrest Whitaker, the cop that comes in to try and save the day, have starred in a movie together prior to Phone Booth. In what 1992 drama, also starring Ray Liotta, Leah Thompson, John C. McGinley of Scrubs fame, and John Mahoney. Did they star together? I've never heard of this movie until I researched this. So for what it's worth.
No, I'm just like, okay, what do you got? I don't think. I can't
Article 99.
think. Wow.
Right? Yeah. It's a
Wow.
movie about like a VA hospital in which like all these big actors, like
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So first off, stumped.
yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. Thanks, IMDb.
Yes.
For scrolling through
Yep.
that.
Again, it's a Forrest Whitaker
Wow.
journey. Yep.
Wow. I'm like,
Yeah.
my two are pretty low hanging
Oh,
fruit.
just you wait.
Okay, great. All right, I guess. Well, okay, so
You'll be fine.
Here's an easy one for you, Tim. Colin Farrell got his big break a few years prior to this in another Joel Schumacher directed feature film.
Oh yeah.
For what 2000 war film did Farrell break out?
Tigerland.
That is correct.
It's so good.
It is good, actually.
Like gritty and
Yeah. The orange
really
thing in the front.
yes,
yeah, I was-
unassuming.
Yep.
Fantastic. Nice.
There, I gave that low hanging. There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I went
All right.
really hard. You're
I
like,
was-
I mean,
look,
nice.
My last ones when it came to like the president assassination,
Yes.
X-Men 2, and
Yeah.
like, so I went deep on the
Yep.
other ones. So these are pretty surface level. So what do you got?
So in what Cameron Crowe penned 1982 movie did Whitaker make his film debut?
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yes. Nice.
That one I got.
Yes, you did.
And also, he looks the same
Yes.
age back then
He
as
doesn't
he does
age.
in this movie
Yes.
and every other subsequent movie
Yeah,
ever.
Exactly.
I'm looking at him in Andor even more.
Yes.
So he was in Rogue One and he was in Andor
Rogue One, yeah.
recently. No, it's the same.
Yeah.
Just put
Looks-
a different wig on him.
Yes.
He's a thinner version of himself.
He's got gray hair.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yeah.
And that's what's weird about even Panic Room. He looks
Right?
they're
Yeah.
like a year apart or whatever.
Yes.
No. Forrest Whitaker has not aged
Nope.
since his mother birthed him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly.
He
Yep.
will die and somebody will bury him and be like, holy shit, is this guy 20?
Yeah, 20.
Motherfucker, he's
Yeah.
80 years old. What are you talking about? He looks the same as he always
He's a
has.
century old.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
All right, well, we love our film franchises here on 20/4.
Mm.
Fast and Furious, X-Men, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, to name just a few. But one that we have not discussed so far that I'm aware of featured a lead role played by Rhoda Mitchell, the wife, or AKA Stu's wife. In what year 2000 franchise starting film, getting another installment soon, FYI, did Mitchell star in?
Pitch Black.
That is correct.
Yes.
Pitch Black, a vastly underrated and unremembered film. Considering it has 3 sequels after
Right?
now coming up soon. But
Sure.
yeah. When you consider something
That
is-
first one is intense.
it's legitimately a great
I
film.
totally agree.
I remember seeing it in the theater and I was like,
Yes.
this is amazing.
It's
and
terrifying.
then they bastardized it by making it
Chronicles
all
of
about Riddick.
Riddick.
Yes.
Yes.
And but anyway, there's another one coming out. But
Nice.
yes, that Pitch Black is
It's good.
Rhoda Mitchell.
All right. So in 2006, again, the Whitaker train. Forrest
Sure.
Whitaker became the 3rd African American male to win the Best Actor Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
And now there are 4
Yes.
after Will Smith won last year. Although, side note, there are also 7 who have won for supporting.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Okay.
right? I'm not going to go through them all.
It's fine.
But it's more of a commentary on like 4
Yikes.
have won primary, 7 secondary.
Yikes.
Who were the 2 who won Best Actor prior to Whitaker? And can you name the movie for which they won?
So it
We've
would have
watched
been-
one.
It would have been Denzel for Training Day.
Yep.
And then it would have been Sidney Poitier
Yep.
for
I know, it's a tough one.
In the Heat of the Night? Or was
Ooh,
it?
That's a good guess. That'd be great for. That's
yeah.
a fantastic movie. Lilies of the Field.
Yeah, Lilies of the Field. Okay, all right.
But you got the 2 main.
Yeah,
like
I
that's
was like, I
that's
knew
all
the
I cared
2.
about. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then after that, obviously, it would have been Will Smith, you say.
Yes.
But then supporting, even, I'm kind of like trying to be like, what are the supporting actors who have won? I mean, Denzel did, obviously, for Glory.
Yep.
Lord have mercy. I just got myself.
The
into
first 2 before are juniors.
Oh yeah, Louis Gossett.
Yep.
Or Officer and Gentleman.
Yep.
Yep. And then who's the other one?
Show Me the Money.
Oh yeah, Cuba.
Yep.
Cuba. That's 3, right? That we
Yep.
talked about. Yikes. What do you got? Do you have the list in front of you?
Marshala Ali.
Oh, he's won twice, actually,
Yes.
because he won for Moonlight and he won for Green Book.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Marshala
And then
Ali.
the Judas and the Priest.
Yeah, again, which
David-
bugs me because he's still...
or Daniel.
Yes.
Yes.
Daniel Kaluuya.
Yes.
Which is still a lead role.
Yes.
I'm so freaking tired of that.
Yes.
Anyway, we went down a rabbit hole here.
It was great.
I
It
got
was
the
great.
2 right.
Yes, you did great. Yeah, you did good.
I guess I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, you're
So
good.
there
Yep.
we go. I don't have any other trivia. I assume you're done?
I'm done.
I'm done too. It's late. All right, well, that
It's
brings
great.
us to the end of our happy hour episode on Phone Booths. If you haven't already, please go back and listen to our previous episodes, all featured on your favorite streaming platform. And stay tuned for our next episodes on Finding Nemo and Bruce Almighty. We want to say thank you for taking the time to listen and for clicking that like or subscribe button on your devices. Find us on Twitter at years_beers and on Facebook, or head to 20years4beers.com. This has been 20 Years 4 Beers. My name is Steve.
I'm Tim.
And thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Blah, 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 blah.
I got an extra bottle you can
You
have.
won't when I leave. Yeah.
Oh, just you wait.
That reviewer is definitely cheating on his wife.
Douchey
Douchey
dank.
dank.